Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today on my YouTube channel. I am Julia, the Gringa living in Chile. I have been living in Chile for over 1 year now, and this channel is specifically for just me explaining cultural differences or my experience as a Gringa in Chile or anything related to that. So if that's your type of thing and you're interested in it, hit subscribe down below and support my channel. It means the world to me. Now, for today's topic, we are going to talk about some myths that a lot of people have about the US that are maybe right or wrong, maybe true or false. Let's break them down, and I'm sure these will surprise you. Now, this first one is kind of funny. People believe that Americans always eat fast food, like every day. And yes, that can be true. Depends on the person. It's very difficult to generalize, but in general, sometimes. Yeah. So a lot of people in the US, especially like the working class, they will often go to fast food restaurants for their breakfast and even sometimes their lunch during the day. So it's just a very busy life in the US, and you go to work very early in the morning and there's not a lot of time to prepare breakfast or things like that. So a lot of people will stop at McDonald's or a coffee shop or things like that and get their breakfast on the way to work. Myth number 2, all Americans have huge, luxurious houses, very fancy, very modern. This is actually false, which I know like the movies really paint it to be that way, but it's truly not. A lot of people, especially if you go out into the smaller towns, their houses are not modern, like not really at all, unless they bought the property and built their house new, like right when they bought it. Now, if we're talking about people that live in the city life of the United States, they also don't usually have very large houses unless they're like millionaires. The large houses really, maybe like Beverly Hills, California, but again, those people are very rich, very luxurious, and that's not the typical person. Most people that are living in cities, they actually have very small houses or they live in apartments because the city life is all just so crowded, so all the houses are very close together. They do not have huge mansions everywhere. Also, the cost of housing in the US right now is actually really, really crazy. After COVID, the prices just went insane. Most houses in the US, you're gonna be like $400,000 to $500,000 for just the house, and it's gonna be like a 3 to 4 bedroom house. So that kind of money here in Chile would buy you a very nice house or property, but in the US, actually no, it's just like a very average normal house for that price. Myth number 3, a lot of people think that in the US every house has air conditioning built into it, but this is actually not true. Many places in the US, they have very mild summers, and so it's not necessary to have the built-in air conditioning. I have family in Colorado, and I know specifically in Colorado, a lot of houses just don't have it because it's not necessary, really. Myth number 4, Americans drink coffee all day, every day. Yeah, this is generally true. Now, it really depends on the person. Again, we're just generalizing here, but a lot of Americans do drink a lot of coffee. And I kind of think of coffee in the US the same as like tea here in Chile. Like, it's just a part of life and everybody needs it. But yeah, I think a lot of people in the US are like a little bit addicted to their caffeine and their coffees. Myth number 5, a lot of people believe that if you are extremely smart in the US, you can actually get into college for free. And while that is the case, it can be a true statement, it's very difficult. You have to have a very impressive educational background, and we also have the ACT in the United States, which is your college test prep exam, and that exam, if your score is high enough, you can get scholarships that will pay for your entire college tuition. Interestingly, I ended up going to college pretty much for free in the United States. However, it's not because I had a very impressive background in education. It's actually a benefit from the government because I was in something called the foster system in the United States. So I forget what we call it here in Chile, but this is like when the government removes a child from their parents' house, you're put into foster care. So in the US, if you are in foster care for longer than 1 year, you qualify for this program that will give you money to pay for college. So it is not enough to pay for like a big fancy 4-year university. Definitely not enough to pay for Harvard. But if you play your cards right and you go to like a lower, cheaper college, you can definitely go for free using that route. Myth number 6. Everyone in the US owns a pew-pew. Generally, yes, but it also depends on where you are in the US. The US is a huge country and there's so many diverse people, but a lot of the people, especially like your country folk, like in Texas or things like that, you can guarantee pretty much everyone has one. Myth number 7, people in the US do not take long vacations. This can be true. The work culture in the United States is very, very different from here in Chile. There's a lot of people that even if they have like an emergency with their family, they don't even have the opportunity to take time off of work that is approved from the job. So even in the case of an emergency, sometimes people will lose their job just for leaving work and being with their family. Now, the amount of time per year that you have to take vacation from your job really depends on the company. Certain companies will give you more time than others. However, it's usually not nearly as much as here in Chile. Most people on average will have like 1 week of vacation time per year. And if you're sick or anything like that, you are supposed to use that vacation time to cover your days when you are sick. So a lot of people are not able to save their vacation time to actually go on a real vacation. They spend it when their kids are sick or there's a family emergency or anything like that. And the last one, number 8, the US healthcare system is extremely expensive. This is very, very true. Most people living in the US will actually die with medical debt. And the way that that works is your life insurance policy, hopefully you have one, will pay for whatever medical debt is left over after you pass away. Now, say for example, you did not have life insurance. Unfortunately, after you pass away, the medical bills will actually transfer over to your family members. So they will start harassing your family members to pay your medical bills. Now, when I say most people die with medical debt, that's really not an exaggeration, and I have a little personal story to tell you just to show you how expensive and how fast those bills can add up. Now, you guys know I have 2 kids. Just to have a baby in the hospital, normal birth, no surgery, nothing crazy, just to have the baby is about $3,000. Just the baby. Now, when my first baby was born, he was unfortunately not healthy. So we had a lot of extra expenses when it came to medical care. One of those things was actually he needed to be life flighted, which means he flew in a helicopter from one hospital to another hospital, and he had to do that twice. So the cost of that actually ended up being, prepare yourself, $100,000 just for the airplane ride, just for the helicopter taken from one hospital to another. Yeah, we lovingly call him our $1 million baby because really, yeah, that's the truth. Now, when you get yourself into a situation where it is that much medical debt and the bills are that high, you do qualify for government assistance to help you pay for that as well, because no average person is going to be able to pay $100,000 just for the helicopter ride, and then also the hospital bills for being in the hospital. They knew that, so we had a social worker help us out, and we qualified for the government assistance, and they helped us cover that. But yes, the bills in the US are crazy. So that's all I have for you guys today. Tell me which one surprised you the most and which one you weren't surprised about. Also, tell me some myths that people have about Chile that they're probably wrong about. I love hearing the myths about Chile. I've had people tell me that the US Americans have asked them if we have cars here. And I'm like, of course we have cars, what do you mean? But no, it's so funny hearing the myths and like the reality of the situation too. So leave those down below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. If you made it this far, leave your favorite emoji down below so that I know you made it this far, and I'm gonna like that comment because I'm watching them and I'm trying to see who is the real MVPs here. If you haven't already, please hit that like button down there and the subscribe button. That helps out my channel so much, and I appreciate your support more than you will ever know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao.